Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another EDGEy conversation. I'm really excited today. We get to hear a new story about some great work that is happening in communities across the country like we do every Monday. And so I get to introduce you today to Diane, Nikki, and Pastor Sherry, who are Embracing the Spirit grant recipients, and they're going to tell us all about their project. So I will turn it over to you three folks to tell us about yourselves and what project you've been working on in your community.
Well, there was a United Church building that we turned into a thrift store. And when we started to initiate that project, through the outreach program with the church, this is Cawston United Church, there was a lot of upgrading that was required, including electrical and so on and so forth. And one thing that was to bring it up to code. There were many projects that we did. And one thing that we knew the public would benefit from was a handicap ramp. And it was the handicap ramp that we put application for a grant, which we graciously received. Thank you.
Wow, really cool. And so this transformation from United Church building into thrift store, what's the background story about how that came to pass or how that idea came to life?
Well, just give you a bird's eye view of that. Reader's Digest version. It was obviously a United Church for the congregations in Keremeos. Then it became an ecumenical partnership with the Anglican Church. And then with 3 United Churches and 1 Anglican. And when that dissolved 10 years ago, there was only 1 part-time United Church, which is the Cawston. The United Church in Keremeos had already turned into an ecumenical partnership as a thrift store. That disbanded almost 3 years ago. So through the COVID and that, we regrouped and then just opened it up as an outreach program for the Cawston United Church.
Wow, really interesting. So it sounds like this has been a project that's been in the works for a while now and has, transformed and shifted as it's been in partnership with different communities, different congregations and churches. Really exciting to hear about all of those partnerships and the way things are connected. This is a question we always ask folks, like, what's been the most surprising part of this whole journey for you, or even in the last, year or two? What's been surprising or things you weren't expecting?
I'll let Diane answer that one.
Most exciting thing for me has been, I maybe wouldn't use the word surprising, because we did know that the community desperately wanted to have a thrift store. So we knew we were headed in the right direction that way. But what I anyway was unprepared for was the marvelous appreciation that people keep expressing to this day about how clean it is, how well organized, how much they love coming here. We've got a grand dynamic team of volunteers, and people like that. And so they feed us all the time. They feed us this marvelous positive input, which helps us to be motivated to keep providing to the community.
And our community doesn't have a variety of a store. It doesn't have very much in the way of anything except for restaurants, drugstores, and that's about it. So the community relies on our thrift store greatly just to buy just about everything they need in the community. So they really depend on us.
Wow. So it sounds like you've really filled sort of a unique need that's so specific for your community. And it sounds like it's all volunteer run. Tell me more about that.
100%. From all the gutting, taking all the appliances and everything out of the building to getting it. We did actually pay to have it painted and the floors redone before we started. But all the staff are volunteer. Everything is done by our marvelous volunteers. What a gift.
when I started with all this organizing, and when it came time to get the volunteers, there's a mandatory training workshop that they all have to attend and sign a code of conduct. So it's just, maybe it's micromanaging, but everybody is on the same page when it comes to all the operations of the store. And I was able to obtain, in this very small community of 1,500 people, 22 volunteers, all basically trained up and ready to go. And enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm. So it's been wonderful. And you have really wonderful customer service. There's a greeter at the door. Anybody needs help finding sizes, there's another gal who helps with that. We've got a cashier. We have somebody at the cashier table who just puts things into bags for them and, wishing them well as they leave. And when we do the project, the net proceeds go out back into the community. So that means that quarterly, we send the money to the Cawston United Church Board into their bank account, and they distribute quarterly, 4 times a year. And where the money gets distributed is posted a couple places within the thrift store itself. So being as transparent as possible. And at the front of the building, as you come in, is a beautiful United Church crest. So people are aware that it is run by the United Church.
Just to back up a little bit, several of the things, the research that we did, and Sherry and I were able to visit one other thrift store and Sherry other ones just to get a model, just to get an idea of what was working in those organizations. And by having, for example, new signage out front, that's been very helpful. And by having strict protocols that we follow, we have rules. And so it all makes sense instead of just being a mishmash of people not knowing what to do. It's thanks to Mrs. Exacto Knife, we call her. She came up with grand protocols and rules, and she prepared volunteer workshops so that every volunteer coming on board has the same idea of what to expect and what to do. It's great.
Yeah, I love it. It's so beautiful because it sounds like it's way more than just like, yep, we have a thrift shop that we run. It's really like, how do we build a culture of being connected and being in relationship for all of the volunteers, but also for the community at large?
We have people tell us it's kind of cute. People come in and they say, I just love coming in here. You girls sound like you have so much fun. And we do.
What it offers in the community, it offers the opportunity for people to give back. So those are the people that are the volunteers. They're in there, they want to give back to the community. And then we have the people that donate. So they know they're donating within the community, and that the proceeds from their donations, go back out into the community. So we have the people who donate their treasures. Then we have the people that come into the thrift store and shop at some pretty incredible pricing, a very competitive pricing, thrift store pricing. And then we also have the where the money goes back in the community. So we're helping those people too. And then there's the idea that we keep things out of the landfill. So when goods come in, they're scrutinized and deciding what goes out onto the retail floor, what goes into a treasure chest. It's actually a chest and it's freebie. So it's like work clothes, t-shirts that are stained, zippers that don't work, whatever. And then there's also in the criteria, things that we cannot sell, then they go to mostly goes to Big Brothers. So they benefit from that and it goes forward from there. And then the last little bit that's left over either goes into recycling or into the landfill. So we're benefiting so many people and so many different levels within our community.
Yeah, it's incredible. And this is a beautiful segue into kind of the next question I have, or curiosity I have, is how is this part of the story of faith or commitment to faith or following the Spirit in the work that your community is doing?
I think that by sharing and giving back, that's a most incredibly important faith issue, is sharing, helping people that need help in the community. And as Sherry mentioned, programs that are already operating, we get to donate to them, which is a wonderful thing. We get to also support our little local businesses, and they support us in turn by donating things at times. And just the fact that we hear comments such as, oh, the United Church is doing this? Oh my gosh, it's pretty neat, the questions that people ask. And it, as Sherry pointed out from the beginning, it lets people know that the United Church is a valid presence in the community. And that's
And I think
huge.
sometimes that encourages people to donate more. They like to know that they're giving to the church and back to the community.
And if you go to Galatians, how it says you help carry one another's burdens, and that's what we're doing, directly or indirectly. And we are about social justice, and we are at equal in God's eyes. So I think what we're doing is living that, and everybody benefits from it.
Wow, really, really incredible. And then the big question is, where next? What do you see for the future for your community? Where is the journey going to take you over the next few months or years, hopefully?
Well, we're still doing upgrading. There's just, this building is very, very old, and every time you do renos, you start something and it's like, you give a mouse a cookie, right? Oh, whoops, something else that has to be done. So we are still upgrading, and I know as if we're going to be applying for more grants.
Well, we found a water pump in the crawl space that it turns out to be very ancient.
Yeah,
full of cobwebs.
There's a part of the floor in the furnace room that's disintegrating, that's got to be reinforced and new flooring put down. And this is all upgrading, but it's also for the safety of the workers and for the customers. We have to do it as soon as physically possible.
And there's a lot of people in our community that don't have the money. So the bargain center is a great place to shop for the thrift store. I used to work for it before, when it was called the bargain center. So excuse me, I revert back to that, and they don't let me forget it. But some people really need this store because of the prices. They can afford to come and buy things. We have a good selection of children's toys and children's clothing and things, and people can, we have a lot of workers that come here from other parts of Canada and Mexico, and they come in for a lot of supplies when they work in the orchards and everything.
Another thing too is for the first 10 months, I guess, I was at that treasure chest every hour that it was open. We have two mornings, 4 hours a day that we receive goods, and then 2 other days that are open for retail for 4 hours. So to create an entity that was going to have longevity, I had to be there all the time, just building, organizing, putting out a few fires once in a while. But I noticed that when we're working together, we're doing so much, and the feedback, as Diane was saying, the feedback has been incredible, and it's just being able to let people know. And I noticed that when I was on the floor in retail, or sometimes even in receiving goods, greeting people as they drop off donations, getting a conversation with people. And that's how sometimes in the conversation, through me being the ambassador for the United Church and for the thrift store, I've been able to get volunteers who people wanted to volunteer. Also, it's been an outreach for ministry where I've had people start attending church, because they've been looking, searching at this moment in their lives, and thank you. And then 10 o'clock Sunday morning, they're there. Some come for a short time, some come and they're there every Sunday, but whatever it is, but that type of is also an outreach for ministry as well.
Could we get an idea of who we get, where some of the money is donated? We can't think of it in all the.
Or recipients, people
Yes.
that we donate back to. There's the Museum Society, Friends of the Library Society, the 2 school lunch programs that are already operational, we donate to them. The South Similkameen Indian Band youth program, soup kitchen, the food bank.
What a good memory you have.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I studied up. But no, we there are 9 on the list right now, and every quarter, the church board readdresses the situation, and we never take anybody away so far. The first groups we've given to, we still give to. And one of the neater things that I really love is, as Sherry was mentioning, when people come in, sometimes there's an opportunity to get a little chatty with folk, and they like to tell their story, and sometimes you get to find out other special needs that people have, and we get to help with that discreetly so that nobody has to know anything about it. It's just a marvelous opportunity to give in other ways. We're learning more and more about, who needs what, and if somebody needs something, well, how cool is that? We get to help. We get to help with that.
Even on the Cawston United Church Facebook page, I've had people there asking about the church, asking about where the proceeds go for the thrift store, and I've been able to address all their questions in a real positive way in the future. Not because this isn't just the now. This is for now and for down the road, and somebody else will take over our positions, right? Just the longevity of this mission for the United Church.
One of the needs that people in the community have that we have not been able to address is we have limited space, so we can't store things. So in our wildest dreams, at some point in the future, we'd like to be able to have a little more storage space so that we can store things, and maybe someday have small pieces of furniture, that kind of thing. Because again, people need that. People, if they're, as Sherry said, even coming in, working briefly in the community, there are all kinds of needs that we could still meet, but that's baby steps. We have to continue, most of all, working on the upgrading and the little time bombs we're finding hidden as we repair.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You folks are truly embedded in your community. You are, and you're there really in kind of on the front lines. In the grassroots part of it is really doing daily life with folks who are around you and who need your care and love and support. Wow, really cool. For folks who watch this interview who are inspired by the work that you're doing, and there's lots to be inspired by, where could they find out more information?
Well, we do have a Facebook page for the United Church, and that on there is all the information, the telephone number, contact information, and that's the best way to get a hold of us. And write comments. I think you can send private messages, but it's just basically through the Facebook page. Or if you happen coming through the area, stop by.
It's amazing the number of people that do know about this, that do stop by
Yes.
from other places, then they come back.
It's right on Highway 3 through southern BC. If you happen to be there on a Wednesday or Saturday morning, we're open 9 till 1. And we do have the telephone number too, and we do check for messages. Yeah.
I love it. So folks have heard it first here. Go in person, go and visit and see what's really happening. And if you're not in Southern BC, like always, I'll put the link to the Facebook page down below in the description box for everyone to find you. Is there anything else you'd like to share or tell folks about your story and everything that you've accomplished?
Well, I think that this what we're doing right now, I just give a big thank you. Because everything helps, and we really need to work together, you know, as a team. No matter how far apart we are, we can still work as one, and that's so important.
And Sherry's been working very hard to sort of rebuild our church, giving it new life. As well as the thrift store, she's been working very hard at the church to breathe some new life into it, and she's given it a whole vibrancy that it was sort of lacking before. So people look forward to coming to the church, and the thrift store is a nice meeting place that people like to come and talk. I think altogether, you know, it's just a nice little combination, the church and the thrift store.
I always say all are welcome. And I wasn't sure whether the little country church, Cawston United, was ready for my ministry, because I'm not really traditional. But they've welcomed me with open arms, and I've been able to take that and move forward with that. And it's been great.
And the church is in Cawston, and the thrift store is in Keremeos, and they're about what, 4 miles away?
Couple of
5 miles?
minutes apart.
Yeah.
Couple of minutes apart.
Now we, again, thanks to Sherry's crusading, we are able to offer church services every Sunday, not just every other Sunday, because we would hear often, well, I don't know what Sundays you're open, and I go there and the church is closed. So now it's every Sunday. How wonderful is that?
Yeah, it's when I came on board, there was every second Sunday and nothing in the summertime. And now it is full 52 Sundays a year. And we've taken the whole the formal part of the offering out of the service, and just free will. The reason we come to church is not to give me your money, right? It's to worship. And so the free will box is at the back, put in or not. But as I mentioned several times in the services, it's just more than just the monetary. The monetary is important too, but there's many ways in which we can be stewards of the church. The thrift store is one example.
Wonderful. I feel a bit teary. I'm so excited and inspired by the work that's happening, because I think this, like you said, the thrift store is one example of all of the great things that are being revitalized and renewed and brought back to life in your community through the hard work that all three of you, I think, are likely involved with in different ways. So thank you so much for your energy and for your time and for commitment to sort of growing this faith and growing your communities. It's really, really cool.
Thank you for the opportunity to share our stories. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, folks, thanks so much for joining us for another EDGEy conversation. Check down below in the description box for all of the links and details about how you can find more information or be more aware of the great projects happening across Canada through the United Church of Canada. We'll see you next Monday.